I'm so excited to be here with Jaspreet Singh. He is the Chief Executive Money Nerd at the Minority Mindset. Best title ever, don't you think? I'm going to let him give a background on himself, but we're here because money and social media have become just so intertwined. You can't have one without the other anymore, I feel like. And the thing about it is a lot of people probably wouldn't immediately give social media the credit for the increased interest that we've seen in financial literacy, that we've seen in the financial markets, that we've seen in investing and trading. So with that, Jaspreet, welcome. And could you, for our viewers that might not know you, could you tell them about what the Minority Mindset is? Let's start there.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. So the Minority Mindset is a financial education and media company. The Minority Mindset has nothing to do with the way you look, your ethnicity, or your skin color. It's the mindset of thinking differently than the majority of people. And in our case, we focus particularly on the finance side, the money side. And the way that we say it is, if you're doing what the majority of people do with their money, chances are you're doing something wrong.
I mean, I think that's so great. It's all about the mind. And we kicked off this conference actually with a clinical therapist who talked so much about when you think about wealth, when you think about money, it starts with your mind. Now, just to level set, I want to see where our viewers are at here. We've got a poll question, ally.com/live poll. The question for Jaspreet and you guys is, I prefer financial education from a social influencer rather than from an established institution. Is that true or is that false? Give us your answers. I mean, I feel like I know what the answer is going to be here. But Jaspreet, okay, I love the definition of what you're doing. A lot of what you do, for people that don't know, is on YouTube. How did you bring us back to the beginning? How did you get started? Why did you get started?
So I never grew up with any sort of financial education. My parents are immigrants from a state in India called Punjab. My dad came to this country for less than $100 and he busted his butt. And when you come from that type of background, you want your kids to become successful. And like many of us are taught, in our house, that meant I needed to study hard, get a good job, and then save a lot of money. Now, in my house, it was a little bit different. My dad gave me two options as to what I could do. He said that I could either become a doctor or I could be a failure. Those are my two options. But along the way, I started to learn a little bit differently. I started to learn about entrepreneurship and I started to learn about financial education. And that was where I started to get angry because when I was in college, I really started my first business, my first real business. I started investing in real estate. I started doing all these other things, but I had no guidance. I had gone through so much schooling, but no one taught me a thing about investing. Nobody taught me a thing about building wealth. Nobody taught me a thing about money management or what it took to become financially free. So I was angry. Like, why is it that none of us are taught these things, but all of us are going to school for the purposes of making money and building wealth? And if you say, oh, but it's not about the money, it's about your purpose. Sure, your purpose is important. But if the money didn't matter, then tell your boss not to pay you. So money clearly has a purpose, but most of us are never taught what that purpose is because we just never taught about financial education. So when I started learning about money and investing, I realized that this was a whole world, kind of like a secret world of investing and financial education that most of us are never taught. And I had to kind of go through this whole journey essentially on my own. I was reading books and I was doing it, but I didn't have guidance. When I told my dad I wanted to invest in real estate, he told me, "You're stupid, go study." And this was the thing that really bugged me because we're never given this sort of guidance. We're never told how to do it. We're never told what to do. And yet the biggest liability right now for young people are student loans, because that's what we're told what we need to do in order to become successful. Yet the biggest asset for the United States government are student loans. So on one hand, we have the system keep telling us you need to go and get a high-paying job. You need to go to college in order to become successful. And we have them saying that student loans are a big issue. But then at the exact same time, student loan debt is their number one asset. It is the thing that is funding so much of their operations. And so me just starting to ask the question of why and starting to understand how some of these things work really started to make me angry. And this is when I went on my journey of financial education. And then I started business after business, saw some great success, some didn't do well, started investing. And after a scam in a different business, I started creating content under the alias Minority Mindset to help people not get screwed over the way that I was. And it started just as a hobby and eventually just grew. And now Minority Mindset is one of the fastest growing financial education and media companies on the internet.
I mean, I just love that you used anger to fuel what you're doing now to make not only your life better, but other people's lives better. And I think that's really important because we talked a lot today in all the different sessions about knowing your why you're doing something, why you're investing, why you're saving, why you're spending, why you do anything in your life, right? Like you just said there too. And I think that is just so important because there's a lot of people that look at social media. We all spend a lot of our time on social media, right? Whether it's for work or personal. We all enjoy it. It's entertaining. It's a way for us to stay connected. But it's not for everyone to be famous social media influencer like you are. And it takes a lot of work. And so a lot of people don't understand that. Now, before we continue the conversation, let's get back and look at that poll question. Sure. If I prefer financial education from a social influencer than from an established institution. And look, 75% say the answer is false. And I wonder if that was just the way it was worded, if people read it differently, because it's written, I prefer financial education from a social influencer over an established institution. So the way the answer is, it sounds like people are preferring from an established institution. I'm actually really surprised by that. I thought that especially our viewers, and who I think a lot of our viewers are here today, would prefer from a social influencer like yourself. So I mean, that's really, truly interesting. Are you surprised by that? Is that what you hear from the people that you talk to when you go to different conferences and things like that?
You see all kinds of people. You have some people that still trust institutions to give them the financial advice. And you have a lot of people that are starting to lose trust because they want to learn from real people who have done something. And the reason is because they've been screwed over by institutions for years. And so they don't want to keep learning from the same people that are ripping them off. What they want to do is learn from somebody who's actually done it themselves, and they want to see how can they do it. So, I mean, you're seeing a transition. It's not everybody. Some people are going to say, oh, never trust anybody on the internet. That's fine. I mean, you don't have to. But the interesting thing about YouTube and the internet in general is you can pick your teachers, and you have teachers with all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, all different personalities, all different backgrounds. You're going to have some people that say you have to invest in real estate. Some people are going to say real estate is bad, invest in stocks. Other people say you have to invest in crypto. Other people say it's going to be gold. But you can learn from each one of these people. You can learn from the different opinions. And then somewhere in the middle, you'll find something that's right for you. And that's the great thing about the internet and YouTube is we are finally decentralizing education. We are creating education that's accessible to people so people can go to the table with the financial institution or whoever it is, and they can go there financially educated, and then they can make better decisions for themselves.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important too. It is a one-off situation depending on what and how everyone, you yourself, best learns. I listened to you speak more recently, and one thing that you said about this social media phenomenon and people going to influencers for information, not just about investing or the financial markets, but a plethora of other things. What you said was the reason that people are interested in using and going to YouTube and other places is because they want to hear from their best friends.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily want to hear from, CEO of XYZ major institution, right?
You want to learn from somebody who you can relate to. And a lot of times it's very hard for the average person to relate to somebody who has been making a $25 million salary, who has no idea what hardships somebody who's making a fraction of that has. And so when you go to YouTube, you can find somebody who you can relate to, somebody who had a similar background to you, somebody who had a similar upbringing to you. And then you can see what they did and how they did it. And now all of a sudden you feel like you know this person, you watch all of their content, you get to know their feelings, you get to know their beliefs, and you get to understand the person and their mindset, as opposed to just hearing this person talking down to you. And so that's one of the things that is driving people to places like YouTube, because not only is it a place for you to learn, but you can hang out with your favorite people. We do a session every week on our channel called Guac Talk. It's a longer form video. Me and Nathan sit down and we just talk finance, and it's a more casual, fun conversation. And people have been loving it because it's just a casual, fun conversation where you can hang out with us and we get to talk about finance. So there's a lot of money nerds and money-minded people out there who enjoy learning about this stuff, and we provide the community for that. And we also have a free Discord channel where now, if you want to meet the other money nerds that follow Minority Mindset, you can go and chat with them for free. So you start to create these new micro communities through the internet. At first, it was just a place where you used to go consume content, but now it's grown and evolved to build these micro communities where you can network with, meet people, and hang out with similar minded people.
Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing the world we live in when it comes to social media. I mean, you got to tell me though, at Guac Talk, are you eating guac and chips every time? You have to be.
we're not eating always guac, but the whole idea is, well, I love guacamole, and it was a joke on YouTube, and people started to resonate with it. I talked about how I like guacamole, and what we talk about is, it's comedic, but extra guac is a symbol of extra wealth. Extra guac is expensive, and the price of extra guac is going up. So, it's like a funny way to talk about what's going on in the world. And I think that's one of the reasons why people resonate with us, because we don't speak in boring financial terms. The time value of money is no, we talk about real things. We talk about guacamole. We talk about things people can relate to. And so now all of a sudden, people who want to learn about finance feel like they're learning from their brother or their best friend, because I talk to people on YouTube the same way I talk to my friends. It's me. And so that's what people really start to appreciate. And then they can see what they like to learn from.
Well, so talk to me about that though. Guac Talk. Did you have any trepidation when you came up with this concept? Was there any concern, hey, this might not stick? Or were you just like, let's just try it and see what happens?
Well, we knew that people really resonated with the guac idea, because anytime I posted a video, even before the video we would publish the video, and then within 5 minutes, you'd have people talking about guac squad is here. Let's talk guacamole. Let's talk guac. It was already happening. People were already, talking about this stuff on our channel because they're fans. They like what we do. We have an amazing fan base. And so from there, we were like, this is cool. Like I like this. People like this. How can we expand upon this? So Guac Talk was a very natural extension of what we were doing.
Awesome. Well, I want to switch gears just a little bit because I want to talk about really investing and
Sure.
and the social media impact on investing. So, when I think more recently about what happened this year, okay, there was a moment where people realized that social media was having an impact on the stock markets. It was when GameStop and AMC, those stocks, what I call broke the market, kind of like Kim Kardashian broke the internet, right? With her, paper magazine cover. So that's what I call it. Because this band of Reddit investors were able to actually control these stocks for a bit of time. I actually think one of the stocks is moving pretty fast today too. But do you think it was really this event or this type of event that got people interested in the financial markets? Was it something percolated before the pandemic? Was it the pandemic? What do you think was maybe the impetus of people really diving into investing?
Great question. So even before the pandemic, people were spending a lot of time on the internet. You had a lot of people moving towards the gaming life. People would hang out digitally playing video games. And then the pandemic hit, and now all of a sudden, social contact stopped almost immediately. And so people were now almost exclusively hanging out digitally. And naturally, some of those people trickled down into the financial world, the stock market. We saw in 2020 was one of the biggest booms in retail trading ever. Robinhood and Webull and all those places, I'm sure Ally did too, saw a huge boom of young traders, people who were trading for the first time. Then came new communities and forums online. They were already there, but then they really started to grow because people wanted to hang out with like-minded people. And then you had some very smart people who noticed that some of these quote unquote meme stocks were heavily shorted. And they started posting about it. And they were talking about how they see it as an opportunity. It could be a short squeeze. And people got excited. They said, yeah, not only does it seem financially sound, but this is a great way for us to give the middle finger to Wall Street, who has been screwing over the average person. So people got excited by that idea. And then they went in and they started buying. And you saw these massive short squeeze pumps, which forced many people, many institutions almost to bankruptcy. And you saw these massive rises in these stocks, and then people got very upset. Oh, this shouldn't be happening. Then you saw, Robinhood shut down. You saw a lot of brokerages shut down trading in these meme stocks, and it created all this controversy. Why is it that the regular person was not able to do that? They were getting stopped from doing this when institutions have been doing this for decades. I mean, Carl Icahn used to do the rating of corporations. You used to see other short squeezes happen on Wall Street with institutions doing it. But now when the regular person started doing it, it became such a big issue. And that's where people got upset. Obviously, you had people coming in, buying with just the hopes of getting rich quick. People were buying without knowing what they were doing, which is very risky. But this is where people, I think it started pushing people to get interested in learning what's going on, because people felt like they were getting abused by the system for so long. And then this was their opportunity to learn, and they were getting a piece of the action.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a moment in time that woke people up about the financial markets. I think they'd been hearing about, the massive bull run that we already were starting to see in the wake of the pandemic, or the beginning, in the wake of the beginning of the pandemic, I guess I should say. And so it really comes back to, I think, what you're saying, like that perception of, the little guy, are we getting beat up? I don't know. But whatever it did, it created that anger, like you originally started talking about, and it fueled people into action. Now, like you said, people are awake. People, though, aren't fully educated about investing, say, just yet. And so to me, maybe I'm old school, but when I think about learning about investing from some stranger on the internet, it sounds a little sketchy to me. I mean, a lot of people do it. A lot of people are in the business of doing this. And a lot of people are in the business of doing this that don't have an MBA, like you said, like you in particular, don't have an MBA. You're self-taught. You didn't work at a brokerage firm for decades on end. How do you know who to trust when you are searching for someone to learn from, especially when it comes to investing in particular?
It's a good question. And you should be skeptical from who you learn from, especially on the internet, because you're going to see scams out there. We just saw the Squid Game scam, the Squid Coin scam happen on the internet in the cryptocurrency space. You have to be very skeptical of who you learn from. There's nothing wrong with that. But you also have to understand what it is that you're trying to learn. And you can, again, pick and choose your teachers very easily. See, it's much easier for you to change your teacher on the internet than it is when you start working with a financial advisor. Because if you start watching somebody and you don't like them, all you got to do is hit the X, leave, go learn from somebody else. And you will learn pretty quickly who is a real teacher and who is not a real teacher, just by what they talk about and how they talk about it. You have to learn from somebody's experience. And people will talk about it because YouTube is a very personal platform. We talk about real estate investing pretty often on our channel. I walk you through some of my real estate deals. If nobody's willing to talk about what they've actually done, well, then that might be a red flag that you want to pay attention to. But this is nothing new. You've seen this been going on forever. I mean, financial advisors, they might just have a title behind their name, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily the best person to manage your money. And you have to be skeptical with anybody who's teaching you what to do with their money. But the advantage of YouTube is this is not somebody who's forcing you to do something. You're just learning, and then you can make the best decision for yourself. So you can learn from multiple different viewpoints and then make the best decision for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think finding a teacher in almost any subject, but especially when it comes to money, when it comes to finance, it's kind of like dating, the way I think about it, right? You got to find someone that you're going to be compatible with for the longer term, hopefully. So I think those points that you make are really, really good. Outside of yourself, though, is there any financial influencer, investing influencer that you would recommend or that you look to bounce ideas off of, or that you just follow in general?
Just kind of like what I said, I like to learn from people with differing viewpoints. You have to be willing to learn from different viewpoints, because that is where intellect is found. We live in a day and age where people are oftentimes triggered by a viewpoint that is contrary to their own. And you have to be willing to listen to the other side. You might not like what the other side says, but you have to be willing to listen and learn to understand where somebody's coming from. So this goes across all different aspects. I mean, understanding from people who hate Bitcoin and learning from people who love Bitcoin, learning from people who love real estate, learning from people who hate real estate, learning from people who love debt, learning from people that hate debt. You have all these different viewpoints and opinions, and you need to learn from all of them. Because if you're not willing to learn from one side and you just assume the other side's evil and wrong, you're never going to understand it. And this type of ignorance is what drives so many problems in this country and world. And we're not just talking about financial problems, but really any sort of problem. It all starts with ignorance of willing to learn about the other side. If you're not willing to learn about somebody else's opinion or somebody else's side, you're going to stay ignorant, even if you think that you're the smartest person in the world. And you have to be willing to learn from something and someone that might make you feel uncomfortable.
Hey, amen to that. I think no matter what it is that we are trying to learn or read more about, you got to get every single side because it's going to make you really think about the topic a little bit more in depth. It's going to make you consider other things and it's going to make you smarter and a better person overall. So I totally get that. Now I want to dig into this issue of financial education. Before we do that, I've got a poll question though too coming up here. And again, ally.com/live poll to all the viewers. What do you believe would be the most beneficial to learn in school? And we got 4 options: geometry, budgeting or how to use debt, retirement plans, or chemistry. I want to hear from you guys. So go to ally.com/live poll. We'll hear from you. We will talk about those answers once we get them. But on this topic of education, so we're kind of talking about investing education, but personal finance education, it's one of the hotly debated topics, right? It's very clearly missing from the school curriculum, which is why I have this poll question here for us. Do you think that the rise of financial education or personal finance on the internet is going to kind of force the hand of schools to dive into this topic? I mean, I know certain states have different legislation. There's still a lot of work to do there. Do you think it forces their hand, or do you think they're too late to the game, maybe?
You know, we will always try to push for more financial education in schools, but the reality is it's very hard for teachers to teach financial education when they don't know it themselves. You have teachers around the country that are struggling financially. You have teachers around the country that don't understand how to manage and invest their money. I'm not saying anything is against the teachers. It's just that financial education is lacking across the board. So if your teacher doesn't understand how to invest, how are they going to teach you how to invest? And that's what makes it very difficult because we have this lack of financial education across the board. Now, what we've done here at Minority Mindset is we created a free K-12 curriculum which teaches teachers how to teach money. So it teaches you not only what to teach, but how to teach it and the why behind it. It was more of just a passion project for me. I put together a team of teachers and I put my thoughts together and we created this, and it's been downloaded almost 50,000 times by teachers, parents, superintendents, principals. But it's very hard to teach money in school when you have teachers that don't understand it themselves. And that is going to be the biggest hurdle. And in addition to that, you also have financial illiteracy, which is very profitable for some institutions. You have a lot of companies out there that profit when people are financially stupid, which makes it very hard to get real financial education mainstream.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you're making some good points. How do you teach something that you don't understand? And in fact, when we go back to that poll question that we started this question with, is what do you believe would be most beneficial to learn in school? Hands down, everyone's saying budgeting or how to use debt. 79% of those that took the poll. Behind that, retirement plans, but that's only got 10% of the vote. Chemistry outgunned geometry, though, so I don't know on the difference between those two. But so really not surprising that people want to learn this stuff in school. And what I found at different things and events that I've been to that include children or educating children, whether it be about investing or personal finance, it automatically piques the interest of the parents, because the parents don't know and they want to know what their kids are learning, and the kids get excited about it. There's actually a guest that we're going to have later today, who runs in Detroit kids camps that teach them how to invest at a young age, which is a really
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool thing. And so you got into this. What age range of kids are using your curriculum? Where can people find it? Give us a little more info.
Yeah, it's K through 12. We have people teaching it to kindergartners all the way through 12th graders. Even some college kids are using it. It's free. You can just go to our website, theminoritymindset.com. We have an academy button on the header bar. If you click that, you're going to see the K through 12 curriculum where you can download it. And when do you start learning? The sooner the better. The question said budgeting / how to use debt. And that is so important, that basic debt management, especially for high schoolers, because you have a lot of 17 and 18-year-olds that are signing a financial death sentence when they go to college, because we're all told that you need to go to college to become successful. And many people don't have tens of thousands of dollars to fund their college education without some sort of college debt. So what do? Well, you go and you rack up this college debt. You go to college trying to figure out what it is that you want to do in life. And then for a lot of people, you graduate college, then trying to figure out what do you do with your life. So now you're 21 years old with $30,000 to $300,000 worth of student loan debt. And now you got to figure out what do you want to do in your life. And now you're working to pay back your education costs. So it's a really weird system, a really backwards system. And what makes it even more interesting is your student loan debt is going to be more expensive than your mortgage, which makes you start to wonder, what are we really valuing as a society? This is where, understanding the cost of debt. If we could teach this in high school, then people might say, okay, before I go to college, let me maybe take an internship. Let me go try a few things. Let me go shadow a few different people. That way I can go and learn and see what the cost of my debt is. And that way, when I go to college, if I go to college, let me learn something that's going to provide real value for me so I understand what the real cost is. Because if you can kind of create that benefit analysis when you're in high school, you could save yourself tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm sure you probably have on your channel videos about the student loan debt situation in this country, and it can go on and on forever. I mean, the cost of debt, student loan debt, it varies depending on where you're getting it from. But the point is taken. I think it's something, debt in particular, people need to educate themselves about. It's almost like, I think sometimes people feel a little bit more nervous and trepidatious when it comes to debt, just like they do when it comes to investing. So again, there's a lot of online resources, books, articles, blogs that you can go to.
Student loan debt is the only debt that you cannot bankrupt your way out of. You take out a bad loan, a bad mortgage, something goes wrong, you can default and you can start over. With student loans, you cannot. If you go out and you graduate with $250,000 in student loans, well, guess what? You're stuck. You have to learn this stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's important. Personal finance is so important to understand, which is why you're doing what you do at the Minority Mindset. I want to talk about, again, I want to shift back to becoming an influencer, because you went from 0 to over 1 million subscribers now on your YouTube channel. Tell me how you did that. How long did it take you to get to, I don't know, say 50,000, 100,000? Tell me how you got there. And what is the magic number to really becoming an official influencer?
Sure. So, I mean, it's funny because when I started Minority Mindset, I really didn't have a goal with it. I didn't have a purpose. I was doing it for fun. And so I started putting out content on Instagram under the alias Minority Mindset. It was about how to launch a business without getting screwed over and the basics of money stuff that I wish that I had learned. People would watch our content and say, man, I wish you had a blog so I could learn more. And I would always respond with, well, English is my second language. So you don't want me to have a blog because you're not going to understand anything that I write, but I can talk. So I decided to start a YouTube channel, and I was just doing it for fun, making videos, I think once a week in the beginning. I started in late 2015. And in early 2016, someone asked me, hey, how much money are you making off of YouTube? I was like, I don't know. I'm not making any money. What do you mean? They're like, have you not turned on your advertisements? What do you mean? They're like, you can monetize your YouTube videos. So I didn't even know that you could monetize your videos when I was first getting started. It was just something I was doing as a hobby. And then March of 2016, I said, okay, I'm going to get more serious in my videos. And it took me until 2017, the kind of the first, second quarter of 2017 to start to see any real growth. We were at around 30,000 subscribers. And then 2 months later, that was when our channel hit 100,000 subscribers. So it took us a year and a half to hit the first 30,000. And then 2 months later, we hit 100,000. And what's interesting is we were able to scale so quickly, not because of something that I'd started doing differently, but because YouTube saw that I was consistent, that people liked our education, and then a video that I had published a year prior started going viral. So I published a video, I didn't do anything. And then a year and a couple months later, that video starts to go viral. Why? Because YouTube saw that people liked the content. They saw that people really enjoyed it. They shared it with their friends, but they weren't sharing it because you have a lot of people on YouTube. So they wanted to kind of vet me out. And after a certain point, that's when they started sharing it. At 100,000 subscribers, now all of a sudden people start to take you seriously because now you are, a real YouTuber. You have 100,000 subscribers. And then it took us a number of years after that to hit 1 million subscribers, which is a whole different milestone, which is still kind of crazy for me to believe that our YouTube channel has grown to 1 million subscribers. I mean, it's nuts to think that a financial education brand has 1 million people subscribed to it. Because when I first started, I always told myself, man, if I hit 100,000 subscribers, that's it. Like I never even imagined that I could ever have 1 million subscribers. So it is pretty insane to believe that you have 1 million people now that are subscribed to our channel, trying to learn financial education. And it just shows you that people are trying to learn financial education. They're going out of their own way to do it because they're sick and tired of the old system of getting screwed over.
Well, yeah, I mean, it shows that people have an interest. I mean, congratulations, 1 million subscribers. That really is an achievement. It shows, like you said, it shows that the content that you're putting out there is stuff that people are enjoying to consume. And it shows that you're putting hard work behind it. You're not just willy-nilly out there. You're doing your own homework and research to help educate your followers and yourself at the same time too. So it's like the double benefit there. But there's more benefits than just monetary. And I want to get back to that maybe in a minute, how you make money. But there's one thing you've talked about in the past is the community, the access to the community that you have and others out in the world that you get to connect with because of this platform. Tell us about that.
Sure. So, I mean, a big personal belief of mine is the more you have, the more you can do. This goes back to some of my religious beliefs. I'm a member of the Sikh religion, Sikh, and one of the fundamental tenets of our religion is seva, which means selfless service, giving back. And it's very important to me to be able and willing to give back. And that's something that we do here at Minority Mindset. Obviously, we provide a whole bunch of content for free. We get paid for it. So I don't consider it like community service. I do it, I started it as a hobby, but now it is a business. But we do a lot of things that are not necessarily shown on the channel to help educate and help provide that sort of financial education. When before we were at the scale we are now, I used to go to Detroit Public Schools weekly to help teach financial education, to help provide some assistance to the teachers, to provide guidance on motivation, leadership, life, money. And that was a driving force for some of the content that I talked about because, I would see some of the struggles that these high school kids were going through. Smart kids, hardworking kids who have jobs, who just didn't know what to do with the money that they were earning. We took a poll in one of the classes, how many of you have jobs? Almost everyone raised their hand. I asked, how many of you have a bank account? Nearly nobody raised their hand. So what was going on? The kids were getting a paycheck, a physical check, going to a liquor store, cashing the check, and now having to pay 1 to 10% of the check to the liquor store owner to cash it. Then they would buy pop, chips, Cheetos on the way out. And by the time they left the liquor store, they only have half of their check. And so that was, a driving force for some of the things that we do here. Just learning about some of the issues people go through, talking about how do you like resolve that? How do you fix the spending? How do you use your money for yourself instead of making somebody else rich? And then also just giving. When we hit 1 million subscribers, we did a big giveaway. We went to a school supply store, a local one here in Michigan, and we bought out a huge chunk of their store. I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff in their store. We loaded it up on a U-Haul. We went to a school here in Detroit, a Detroit public school, gave them all of the supplies so they could use it in their classrooms because they were struggling with supplies. Then we gave every teacher and administrative person in that school a $500 bonus out of our pockets, gave them a $500 check. That way they could now use this money to benefit the classroom, to give them school supplies, whatever they need. And these were things that I paid out of, our own money just so we could give back to them. And then we gave a big donation to another community service organization that was doing a lot of work overseas. And we went around Detroit, asked people financial questions, and we would give you $200 if you got it right. And even if you got it wrong, we would help nudge you to get the right answer to help one teach you, but then just help giving back. And so it's very important for us to give back, not just through the education, but we give back in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I mean, the giving back, you're doing so much. So you're thanking the people that need it the most, that really, really embodies why you're doing what you're doing, right? And so it's really great to see that there's all this good that can come out of becoming a social media influencer too, outside of just, in your case, really educating people, but giving back to the community too. Really, really so important. Now, I think about what's the future of social media influencers, right? Because, if you were thinking about it from a corporate perspective, say there's a lot of companies that are social media influencers instead of people, right? Over time, you end up seeing mergers and acquisitions, right? And so the whole pool of influencers decreases. Do you think the pool of influencers over a longer period of time will decrease or will increase? Why? What's your view of the future of social media influencing?
I think we're going to see more people come into the influencer side. I mean, the whole idea of being a quote unquote YouTuber never existed 20 years ago. 20 years ago, if you asked anybody, do you want to be a YouTuber? Nobody said yes because nobody even knew what YouTube was. Nowadays, if you go to high schools, people will say, yeah, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a YouTuber. And it's a whole new world of careers that never existed before. You have people that are making full-time livings off of TikTok, which is making more people want to do that. And we're going to continue seeing that happen, not just because people like the idea of making money, making videos, but also because there's a demand for it. And there's always going to be room for more. You have more and more people that are getting access to the internet. You have more and more people that are becoming okay learning from things like YouTube and the internet. And so there's going to be room for more. Now, here comes the argument of, but isn't it already saturated? Sure. But every single year you have a brand new best-selling cookbook. Every single year you have a brand new best-selling financial book. Every single year you have brand new authors who nobody had heard of before in the financial space. People are always looking for something different. People are always looking for something unique. And that's what makes YouTube so powerful, because it's the uniqueness that makes people attracted to you. People want to see you. They don't want to see a corporation with a blank wall and a very boring personality. They want to see you, and people resonate with you. Not everybody's going to like you, but that's what makes YouTube powerful. You don't need everybody to like you. You're speaking to your audience, and there's always going to be room for more.
Okay, well, that you got me really thinking here. Two questions. So if there's always the new best thing every year as an influencer, how do you stay unique? How do you keep people interested and people coming back for more?
Yeah, I mean, and that's just staying you. I mean, it's just like you think of any celebrity out there. What keeps celebrities growing and what keeps them on top? You have so many comedians, wannabe comedians in the world, but there's only one Kevin Hart. Why? Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but he worked hard and he continued to work on his craft, and he continued to be funny, and he continued to try new things and continue to innovate and produce new content. It's the same thing here. You have to be willing to work on your craft. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. and you have to be willing to innovate and try new things. I mean, like for us, we have the Minority Mindset channel with over 1 million subscribers. We just launched a Minority Mindset news channel where we publish news videos every single day. We just launched a Minority Mindset Spanish channel where you can watch our content in Spanish for our Latin speaking countries. And so you have to be willing to innovate. You have to be willing to try new things, and you have to be willing to be you and stay you. It gets hard because as you get bigger, people will criticize you. People will criticize you for everything that you do, everything that you say, every way that you look, and everything that you don't say. I mean, I get criticized for the way I look all the time. People say, ISIS, terrorists, this and that, but they have no idea who I am. And it's very hard if you are not able to take that sort of criticism, because then you're going to want to be just like everybody else. And as soon as you start to follow the mold and do what everybody else does, now you're just like everybody else and nobody cares.
Yep. Yep. No, I think being unique, obviously, and being you, as you say, is top priority. You mentioned the haters. I'm so sorry to hear you have to go through that. That's terrible. I mean, people get behind a screen and get a lot more confident, unfortunately. How do you deal with that? How do you avoid getting too emotional or upset about that?
You just get used to it. I mean, I grew up getting bullied my whole life. I've always looked different. I grew up, after 9/11, faced a lot of criticism and bullying because of that. It was really unfortunate, everything that happened, and people didn't understand me. And I went through a lot of, abuse. I mean, I was picked on, bullied. I had, people push me around, punch me, spit on me, throw my stuff to the ground. But it also helps you develop tough skin. And I think that's something that I was able to develop because of the bullying that I had to go through. And so now when I get hate comments of people saying, "Oh my God, don't learn from ISIS." First, it's comedic to me now. I mean, I've made videos just reacting to some of these people because it's like you have no idea what the heck you're talking about. But you really just can't care about what other people think. You have to believe in what you believe and do that. And I know you don't have to like everything that I say. I will say things based off of my opinions. Just know that everything that I say is coming from my heart. It's coming from passion. It's coming from my own beliefs and my own experiences. If you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to like it. It's a free country. You can leave and watch somebody else. But everything that I say, I speak with passion. And so I believe in what I talk about because I know where I come from, which allows me to now ignore what people say.
Yeah, I mean, good for you. And I hope that for every one hater there's a heck of a lot more people that are finding what you do as valuable and worthwhile. So, and that I'm sure helps to keep you going. I mean, so I guess pivoting just a little bit. You're constantly talking about being you, and I think society nowadays is really leaning towards more people being themselves, and the work world and different parts. Different people have different personas, right? It's sometimes hard to be the true, authentic you, especially if you're putting yourself out there like that. And there's potential haters, and you have the world around you telling you not to be you. How do you do that?
You have to know your why. Why is it that you're doing what you do? When I dove into entrepreneurship, I had everybody telling me that I was wrong because I was supposed to be a doctor. To kind of give you some perspective of like, when I say I was supposed to be a doctor, when I was in middle school, I was on the verge of failing my English class. English was my second language. And I was 12 years old. My dad got me a tutor, but it wasn't a tutor for my English class. It was a tutor for the medical college admission test, the MCAT. It's the test that you take towards the end of your college career. And so my dad wanted me to start getting ready for that when I was in middle school. When I tell you that I was supposed to be a doctor, it was the only option. And so when I started doing these entrepreneurial ventures in high school and college, I had to do it in secret because if my parents found out that I was doing these things, they would not have approved. So I had kind of two different lives, my entrepreneurial life and then my academic life, which my family knew about. But after I took the MCAT, I knew for sure that I didn't want to be a doctor because I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I had to break it to my parents that, hey, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I want to do entrepreneurship. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was making good money, but I didn't want to stick in the industry that I was doing. So I told them, and I mean, it was, they did not believe me. They were so angry. My mom was furious. It took my mom like a year and a half to finally believe that her son wouldn't be a doctor. I had my family members all over the world from India and across the country calling me saying, Jaspreet, why are you throwing everything away? You're throwing away every sacrifice that your parents made for you. Why are you doing this? What got into you? You were such a good student. You did everything. I did the internships. I did the volunteering. I did the job shadowing. I did the pre-med clubs. I did all the classes. I did everything. And I'm throwing it all away for what? To do this stupid idea that I have. And, it's everywhere I went, people were poking fun at me and I had nothing to prove for it. All I had was this idea that nobody understood. Nobody saw what I saw. Nobody knew what I knew. And I had to stick with it and just kind of put my head down and go with it. And it was hard. I mean, there was a lot of nights where I couldn't sleep because I had this anxiety of, my God, how am I going to support myself? How am I going to support my family? Am I going to let everybody down? What am I going to do? And you have to have something as your driving force as to why it is you do what you do. And initially, it was for me just to prove everybody wrong. And everybody says, don't do things for spite. Screw that. I mean, I had heard every single bit of criticism in the world. People made fun of me. I mean, family members would make fun of me. Family friends would make fun of me for the things that I were doing because they didn't understand what I was doing. They would say, oh my God, you're throwing away your life. You were supposed to be the successful person, and look at what you're doing. And so, for me, that was the initial driving force. I wanted to prove everybody wrong.
Wow.
And that kept me going.
That's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's people see YouTube influencer, they think glitz glam, all this stuff, but you're on the, forefront of this whole new trend. And so of course it took a lot of guts, and clearly you had to stick to your intuition about what you were doing, and you truly believed in it, and it really panned out. And I think anything that's great, it doesn't come easy. Isn't that the saying, right? So good for you. We're grateful to have you here today doing what you're doing, honestly. I mean, following that up.
It took a lot of trial and error. I went from starting business after business, doing a whole bunch of things, making a lot of mistakes, but that's how you learn. Like you said, I didn't have the formal business experience. So the way I learned was by doing, trying, and failing.
Well, talk about that, like going through those failures. Like, people say you should fail, but when you're in a failure, that's not easy.
When I was in college, I was running an event planning company, and we were making good money. And that helped start my real estate investments. I was funneling my extra cash into my real estate investments because this was at the bottom of the real estate crash. I had no idea what real estate investing was, but the books I was reading said that every wealthy person invests in real estate. I had no idea what that meant, but I tried to do it. So I was 19 when I bought my first investment property. The business was growing, but then towards the end of my college career, I had to make a decision. What do I do? Because I didn't drink. I wasn't into partying. I was in the business of hosting parties, concerts, and shows. And I realized that this wasn't the industry for me. And I didn't see myself in this industry for the next 20 years. I was making great money, but I didn't want to scale it. So I pulled the plug, shut the business down, and now I started over. And I knew I liked real estate. I got my real estate salesperson's license. I did that. My broker introduced me to real estate wholesaling. I did that. I started making great money. It took me months to get my first deal. Started making great money. I mean, we're talking about multiple 5 figures in a month. And again, I was like in the early 20s, but then I didn't have the same scalability that I wanted or hoped for.
Well, and, it sounds like it wasn't, it worked out a little bit, not easy, but you got through it. The way you told the story, you got through it quickly. But how important was the support system that you had around you at that point in time to really keep you going to get to the next thing that you were going to do?
Well, I don't think I had that support system. I don't think I had a bunch of people around me supporting me. I was still just trying to figure it out because everybody said that I was going to fail. And for me, that hate and criticism was my support because that was my reason to succeed. And, I started a different business and everything started to kind of flip as soon as my parents got a call from one of our family friends saying, oh my God, I saw your son on the news. My parents were like, oh my God, what did he do now? And they're like, no, he has this business is doing great and he has all these sales. And then all of a sudden everything flipped because now I was starting to become successful and people started to see the success and the news was reporting about our success. And that's when things started to flip, because now all of a sudden it's like, oh, you might actually be doing something right. Oh, we supported you the whole time. And, I love my parents. They're the hardest working people that I know. They just didn't have that financial education. And so the things that I talk about now are the things that I had wished I knew when I was getting started, and just kind of providing that support system, because I never had that. And most people don't. They don't have that like person saying, hey, it's going to be okay. You can take a risk. It's okay to take a risk, and it's better to take a risk when you're young. So it's kind of like showing you, hey, here are the things that you can do, and it's okay to take a risk and try.
Well, I mean, that's just an incredible story. You truly are a trailblazer. You're persistent. You really, I mean, it's incredible what you've become, and so congratulations for that. I do have one final question before I open it up to the floor, and
Sure.
that really is, what is your best piece of advice for people that are trying to become social media influencers?
Oh man, the best advice that I can give you is don't listen to anybody, including me, because nobody has the same goals and opinions and background as you. And one of the things that people try to do when they're trying to succeed, especially on social media, but you see this across industries, is to try to copy somebody who's bigger than them. Oh, this person did this, so let me do that too. When you copy somebody, you're too late, because it's already been done. Somebody's already done it. And so people are not going to come to you because you're just copying something successful. What you should be doing is learning from people that are doing what you want to do. Learn from them and then apply what they learned to you. Now, that doesn't mean copy, that means being able to change it a bit and see how you can apply it to yourself. The way that you succeed is, one, learning from the successful people, applying it, and constantly keep working on your content. The people are always trying to hack the algorithm. They're trying to hack Instagram, they're trying to hack TikTok, they're trying to hack YouTube. But at the end of the day, at the core of all of these platforms, on every single social media, the core comes down to the content and the value that you provide. If you can provide good content and good value, people will like it. The social media platform will see that, and then they will share you. So if you can focus on the content and the value, you will win over the long term. And that is one of the hardest things for people to grasp, because they're always trying to hack it. How can I get the quick route there? But those hacks will not work over the long run. You have to give people real content and value. That way they want to see you. Those hacks can help you optimize good content, but they cannot create the good content for you.
Well, I mean, you started that with saying, don't listen to you. But I mean, I feel like we got to listen to you. You're telling us focus on the content. That makes total sense to me. But I got a follow-up question. So, because when people do talk about the social media space, they're always talking about algorithms, understanding those. You're saying throw that out the door. Don't worry about that. Focus on the content. So, how do you know? I mean, how do you know what content's working and what's not? I mean, I guess you see viewership, things like that, but do you talk to your viewers often to understand what they want to hear from you? How do you build the best content?
On YouTube, if you go to most traditional, like, oh, YouTube growth hackers, what they're going to tell you is you need to optimize your title, your thumbnail, your tags, your description. That's what they're going to tell you to work on, because that's the easy thing to fix. And that can help you get a little bit more views, because it can optimize the views that you get, but it cannot get you that big bulk of views. The 90% is going to come from the content that you create. You can optimize all that other stuff to help it, get better optimization, better growth. But without the good content behind it, none of that matters. So when you talk about what are the things that I talk about, it's very easy to see. I mean, your audience will tell you. It's not a one-way street where I make a piece of content and then I get no feedback. Anytime I post a video, you're going to have the thumbs up, thumbs down. People can leave comments. We have our Discord channel, right? Our Guac Talk community. People will talk about our content there. And so it's very easy to get feedback on what people like. Now, I'm a little bit weird or unique or whatever you want to call it, in the sense that I talk about the things that I love and that I enjoy and that I understand. And so, I don't change my content to please people. I talk about what I know and what I understand. And I think people just resonate with that, because it kind of so happens to be that that's the content that also does the best. And people, especially on YouTube, these decentralized platforms, It's very easy for them to tell when somebody is speaking from knowledge and passion, or if they're just speaking out of their, you know what. And so for me, it just, you can tell when somebody is knowledgeable and they know what they're talking about, and they're speaking from experience versus when they're just blowing air.
I mean, I think you're right. People are smarter than you might give them credit for, but it comes down to content and really listening to what viewers are saying and doing. I had one final question before, and then I promise I'll turn it back over to the audience. So make sure you put questions in the chat box on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn, put your questions in the comment section. We're going to get to as many as we can at the end of this for Jaspreet. But my question to you is, so you primarily utilize YouTube. You talked about Discord and other places. How important is it to be in a lot, and you have a blog page, how important is it to be in all these different places? What's your focus? Do you use one and as the primary focus and have ancillary, a little bit of information here and there in other places? What do you do? What's your strategy?
So we are everywhere. We are on YouTube. We are on social media. We have over 650,000 followers on Instagram. We have a TikTok, we have a LinkedIn, we have a Facebook, we have our blog, we have our daily newsletter, we have our Discord. We are everywhere. But the thing that you want to understand is, I mean, there's so many places where you can publish your content, but you don't want to dilute yourself too thin. And the way that we were able to do this is first let's focus on Instagram, and then I came onto YouTube, and then really focused on YouTube and built YouTube, and then reinvested now our YouTube revenue back into the brand. So after YouTube, then we started building out a newsletter team. And after we started building a newsletter team, that's when we started building out our blog team and then our social media team. And so you can't do everything yourself. Yeah, it helps to be everywhere. But if it's going to distract you from building one thing, then just focus on that one thing first.
Yeah.
Because, you at the end of the day, you're going to be at the mercy of the algorithm. So you want to build one thing and then use that one thing to help fund your other things.
Okay. And probably start with the medium or platform that you're most comfortable with, I take it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get to some questions here. First up, Sam Jones. What are some of your goals for your content over the next few years?
So some of the things that we're doing is really just giving people more value. So for example, we just launched Guac Talk as a way to kind of pull back the curtains a little bit more and have a more personable discussion. Our videos previously were just focused heavily on just one topic. So I'd make a video about stock market investing, and the video would focus just on that. Now our Guac Talk videos are, we might start talking about the stock market, but then we'll dive into a whole lot of things much deeper where I wasn't able to do that in just a video where I'm just talking to the camera. So now when I'm having a discussion, you get to hear a lot more, you get to see more of me, my personality, and you get to see a lot more. And we also started doing interviews. So it's not just me, because I know I don't know everything, but I get to bring on guests who are experts in their fields. So, we brought on people like Kevin O'Leary. I recently just brought in Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We had on Raul Paul, the cryptocurrency person. I'm bringing on a person who hates cryptocurrency next week. So it's again, showing differing opinions, differing viewpoints, but showing people who are very good at what they do and making that accessible to people. Because, if you want to pick up the phone and call Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, you're probably not going to be able to do that. But what we did in our interview was we opened up the questions to our audience, kind of like what you're doing here. So our audience got to ask us some of their questions, and then we took these questions and asked Kevin O'Leary.
That's awesome. I mean, I don't have a line into Kevin O'Leary. I'm just saying. I also don't have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but I want to actually read some of the commentary that we're getting in the YouTube chat box. People are loving you, Jaspreet. Daniel Akal, I knew this was going to be the best session of the day. Thank you, Jaspreet.
Thank you.
Hard work and persistence. Gil, thank you for that comment. Love your honesty, Janaki. So there's just really, really so much saying you're great. That's from David Timbers. Thanks, Jaspreet, from Cassie. So yeah, you got a lot of love in the chat box there. But let's get back to some questions.
I appreciate all of it. We have the best fans in the world, so I appreciate it. I really do from the bottom of my heart.
You really do. That's awesome. So Amit asks, FOMO exists at every turn in the digital world, especially in finance right now. How should we not how do we not think like the majority and project ourselves from and protect ourselves from FOMO? How do you protect yourself from FOMO?
Well, just like anything else, you have to make smart decisions. Is it possible that we could see a market crash? Sure. Are you going to sit here and wait to invest? You should not. I mean, it just means being smart. If a crash happens, which is what everyone's worried about, well, that's when you want to come in and buy more. So now, if you're buying today, what do? Well, it means be smart with what you're buying. Don't overpay. Be pickier with the investments that you make and understand that, hey, if things do go down, what is your backup plan? So kind of have a risk management strategy. It's very easy to understand when I talk about real estate, where I have a certain goal, cash flow goal that I'm looking for with real estate. If a deal doesn't hit that cash flow goal, I don't want it. I'm not going to sit here and chase prices, chase valuations, chase properties when I'm going to have to overpay for it. I will be pickier, have to spend more time analyzing the deals, and then buy the things that I believe are good value for the long term. That way, even if things slow down, I'll still be okay because I believe in what I'm buying.
Yeah, no, that's really great response there. This is a question I think makes so much sense. And I know it's probably on a lot of the viewers' minds. It comes from Mary Ochalek. Did you ever doubt yourself? If so, what did you do to change your mindset?
All the time. All the time. I didn't know if I was going to succeed. I didn't. And I remember, I had a talk with a close family member of mine when they were giving me all this talk about how being an entrepreneur is the dumbest thing that I could ever do. I was like, but what about the CEO of Coke? Like, I could be the CEO of a company. And they were like, somebody from your background could never be the CEO of a company like that. And so it's that's how I was kind of like raised. And so this is in the back of my mind of, I can't do this. But at the same time, what the thing that I would do is I would try to block out the noise and see. People call me stupid for this, but I think it really worked out for me. Is I see the opportunity and I used to ignore all the risk. And now I've kind of balanced out a little bit. But before, when I was younger, I never used to look at the risk. I used to only look at the opportunity, which made me much more willing to take risks and try new things and learn. And looking back, I mean, I had a whole bunch of businesses that failed. There was in one of my early businesses, I was still in college. I started this Amazon business, or it was an e-commerce company selling products from China. We thought we had an authorized retailer. Apparently we didn't. We got a letter saying that this company was going to sue us for $7 million because we were selling counterfeit stuff. And all of a sudden my heart dropped because I didn't have anything close to $7 million. And so, it's we shut that company down really fast, but it's that willingness to make mistakes. And nowadays, I joke around. If people don't tell me what I'm doing is stupid, I'm probably not doing something big enough. And it's how do you keep going? You kind of have to just put on blinders, ignore the naysayers, ignore the haters, ignore them. I mean, look, there's only one you. The world is at your fingertips. You have every opportunity at the world there if you're willing to put in the work and hustle and keep ignoring them and keep working at it.
Yeah, I mean, wow, that's so good, so good, such good advice. To the risk thing, really, if you look at people, really great people that have done anything great, it's they kind of ignore the risks for better or for worse, right? Maybe you need to have a little bit of a balance. Young and dumb, we all can be, right, at some point in our life. But balancing the risk and not letting risk create an amount of fear that prevents you from doing something that you dream about. So really good thoughts there. Along those lines, I love this question too. Such good questions. Keep them coming, guys. Eduardo Coda, how did you build your confidence enough to talk publicly about money? So, how'd you get comfortable in front of the camera? How'd you get comfortable talking to you? You just gave a keynote at FinCon on a stage. You were awesome. And how did you get used to that? Is there something inside of you that gets nervous? Your heart rate picks up at all? Like, tell us about it.
Man, I think I get excited by it more than nervous. I think my confidence comes from seeing what I've done. It's if you don't believe me, that's fine. I really don't care because I know what I've done. If you don't like what I say, that's fine. It's your choice. And I think that kind of that success builds confidence. I don't think I was always confident. I was actually not a confident person. I was a very shy and timid person around people. People still say I'm quiet when I'm around people because it's just the way that I was. And how do I break out of that? Practice. I mean, if you look at my early videos, it's not like what they are now. I was not a good person on camera. I was really awkward on camera. I didn't know how to talk on camera. I had a really hard time saying coherent sentences. And so I tried things when I wanted to really get better. I tried a bunch of things. Obviously, I did a lot of practice. I made tons of videos. Then I took an acting class. I took a film class. And these were just things that I wanted to just get experience and get some feedback of how do I communicate a message better, because I wasn't good at that. But it takes practice, and you got to be willing to, learn your craft better. Take classes, try things.
Yeah, you got to put the work in. I mean, sometimes I don't even think I get sentences out right on these types of things. So
You're
I'm
doing a
willing
great
to
job.
Thanks. I'm willing to learn from you too, and from the professionals. But more questions coming. David Timbers, do you think young people are jumping too deep and concentrated into the meme stock and crypto because of FOMO, rather than creating a plan and sticking to it in a more traditional investing way?
I love the fact that young people are getting started with investing. I think some young people are going to lose a lot of money. Sure. I mean, it's natural because you get greedy, you get excited by the idea of making a lot of money. But I love the fact that people are getting started, and it is a way for somebody to now get more educated, because what happens is somebody gets involved with, let's just say, meme stocks. They come in and they buy. Then what? They might make a lot of money. They might lose some money. Doesn't really matter either way, but now they're going to start learning, because they're going to say, wow, that was fun. Either I made a lot of money. Now what do I do with my money? Maybe you take more risky bets, or maybe you're going to start learning. What is a stock? What is an ETF? How do I invest? What is a long-term investor? What is a trader? And you start to ask these questions. And so I love the fact that people are just coming in and starting, because you have to start somewhere. I think a lot of people come in and they're looking for the quick buck. I started as trading penny stocks early on, and then you learn, hey, I don't want to do that. That's not very good for me.
Yeah, I mean, some people are better at trading penny stocks than others. I agree with you. It's not my thing either. But you got to do and learn about what interests you and figure it out. I'm totally on board with you in that respect. We did get a question on YouTube from a viewer that wanted to know how many people are on your staff since you've expanded so widely into all these different types of content.
Sure. So we have 6 or so full-time people in the office. They're actually watching this video above us. They might be playing ping pong while watching this. We have, and then we have probably a couple dozen or so part-time people, contractors, freelancers, maybe a little bit more, something like that assist with all the other day-to-day stuff, from content writing to management of some of our back-end stuff to graphic design to everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good staff. Is there like one question that you ask everyone you interview to work for the Minority Mindset?
One of our first interview questions are, how weird are you? How weird are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Because not weird.
Oh my God.
Shouldn't be working Minority Mindset.
What are people's reactions when you ask that? Are they just like, how do I answer?
Yeah, and our interviews are very unique. We will ask you questions that there are no right answers. All we're trying to see is the way you think. Are you creative? And that's, we're a very creative brand. And if you don't have that willingness to think outside of the box, then this isn't the right brand for you. We have a lot of fun here. We get to have a lot of fun in the office. We work really, really, really hard. And those are all things that are important, but you have to be willing to think.
Yeah, that's so important to so many jobs. Well, I mean, I'm so upset because we're at time here. We're completely out of time. This has been such an amazing conversation. We've got really great questions from the audience. Everybody was super engaged. Really, thank you for your time and your energy for bringing it and sharing it with us here at the Ally Invest Digital Conference, the new look of wealth.